Benny's vehicles are hands down the best to customize in GTA. From awesome liveries to a bunch of crazy looking spoilers and many other unique upgrades, we're gonna look at the best Benny's vehicles in GTA Online. If you're into customizing cars or just cars in general in GTA, you're gonna want to see this. If you enjoy, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. Let's start with the fastest of all supercars, which is the Nero Custom. The Nero is a supercar, and then the Nero Custom is basically the Benny's version of it. It's a very nice looking car. It's actually based off of a Bugatti in real life, and especially the front of it is very similar to the real life version of it. It's one of only two Benny's supercars. There's only the Hakiii GTB, and you can probably guess that the supercars are going to be the fastest out of all Benny's vehicles, and I do think the Nero Custom does take the cake. Now this might come to you as a surprise, but I think the highlight of this car is actually the stock wheels. You really can't say that about a lot of cars in the game. That's actually an understatement. The stock wheels on the Nero are hands down one of the best, if not the best looking stock wheels in the game. They're super unique, and you can partially color them, which makes them a whole lot better. What I mean by partially is that when you change the primary color, it also changes the outline color of the wheel. So instead of having the three different colors of the Benny's wheels, basically like the white outline, you also have like the thin red one and the thin blue one. So it's gonna match up perfectly no matter what with the primary color on the car. Now there was a little trick back in the day where you can color the entire wheel, like the actual rims, not only the outline of the wheel. I'm not sure if that still works. If it does, I mean, that is absolutely amazing. I still don't know why to this day you can't just color the stock wheels of vehicles, because a good amount of vehicles in game have unique ones that you can't just go and choose in one of the wheel types. That really should be an option in game already. I don't see why it's not. It's got a good mix between the primary color on the car and the secondary color. You're gonna notice the secondary color actually covers a good amount of the car, a lot more than the secondary color covers on other cars. It's pretty substantial. Overall though, it's a great looking car with obviously a ton of customization, since I mean these are all Benny's vehicles in this video. So it's got the liveries, it's got cool spoilers, really cool exhaust too. You're not going to be let down with what this vehicle has to offer. It is a bit expensive, but I feel like you gotta expect that with all Benny's vehicles at this point. Up next is the Faction Custom Donk. There's something really unique about this vehicle, which you can probably tell just by looking at it one time, and that is the huge wheels it's got. The build of the car itself looks all normal, and then you just have these huge wheels it's on. When you first buy it in the Benny's website, it's just gonna look like a normal muscle car, like nothing special at all. But then when you take it into Benny's, it's gonna completely transform the car and give you these huge looking wheels. If you're someone that loves showing off wheels in this game, then this vehicle is perfect for that. Other than the Zaba, which I think has the biggest wheels on a vehicle in the game, the Faction Custom Donk has one of the biggest wheels. It also has the hydraulics, so if you hold ARX on your controller and then you move the left stick in whichever direction, you can mess with that. With those hydraulics, you can elevate the car even more, and then not only is the car super high off the ground because of the wheels, but the actual car itself goes up, and you have like more space between the car and then the wheels, if that makes sense. You can probably imagine it's pretty bouncy driving it around just because the wheels are so big, and it's way different if your car is so far off the ground with these big wheels. It's pretty much the exact opposite of driving an F1 car or like a supercar, which has this low and stuck to the ground type look. Are you gonna tip and fall over every time you try to turn? No. But are you gonna lean to the side a little bit? You might, because once again, it's not built like an F1 car. It just doesn't have that traction and handling. Let's move on to the Yuga Classic. I like the Yuga Classic a lot. It's a pretty funny looking van. If you don't know, it's actually one of the newer Benny's vehicles because it's been in the game for a while, but Rockstar only added the Benny's upgrades on it like a year or two ago, so fairly recently compared to all the other ones. You can make the Yuga Classic look so many different cool ways. You can make it like a band type van with one of the liveries. I know some people made it the Scooby-Doo van. It's literally perfect to make the Scooby-Doo van. It's got a livery that looks like the Scooby-Doo van, and then if you add a specific paint job on it, it's gonna look really similar. I've probably showcased that a few times in Garage Wars episodes. The customization on it is amazing. I guess you can say that about all Benny's vehicles, but I feel like specifically on the Yuga Classic, it's maybe even a little better than some. The van itself looks pretty garbage, so you really have to use all the possible customization to make it look absolutely sick. There's several different things you can put on the roof. You can put a little ladder on the side of the car, which looks sick. The interior options are sick. You got a bunch of liveries, a bunch of hood options, basically everything you can possibly think of on this car. For the interior of the car, you can make a whole sitting area in the back. There's an option for a table with some drinks on it. It makes the whole back of the van look really decorated and all that. And the best part about it is that people can actually sit in the back, so it's not only for show. People can go in the back of the van. I don't know know if it's more than 2. I think it's 2. It might be 4 people in the back alone, but I'm leaning more towards 2 in the back. I highly recommend getting the Yuga Classic 4x4. If you're someone that loves Benny's vehicles and just loves customizing cars in general, this is easily one of the best ones. Moving on to the Gauntlet Classic Custom, it's one of the cooler looking Benny's vehicles, and just like the Yuga Classic, it's one of the more recent Benny's upgradable vehicles. This car is all about customization and looks. When it comes to performance, it really struggles. Not that you expect too much from a muscle car, but the acceleration is pretty bad. It can spin out a good amount sometimes too. So I suggest if you do get this vehicle, make sure you get it for the customization and the looks of it. It could be really good for car shows. The thing that I consider is almost like a symbol of this car is the super high spoiler it's got. It's one of the spoiler options, and this is meant to be more of an older muscle car. The tall looking spoiler is a style of muscle cars that they had back then, I guess. It's super unique. It's not something you see on other cars in the game. If you hold RB or R1 on PlayStation and then you hold the gas button and then you let go of RB or R1, you can do an awesome wheelie with it. You're gonna see the front of your car is gonna go all the way up. Another unique thing about it is the pop-up headlights. You only see that with a select few cars in the game. That's also a retro style type thing. Next one is a really popular Benny's vehicle, which is the Elegy Retro Custom. It's hard to find someone that doesn't like this car. You can make it a Fast and Furious car. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. He did drive it in one of the Fast and Furious movies. I know some people that remade that with the silver paint job with the 2 blue stripes. It's classified as a sports car. It's got very good handling. It's pretty quick. It can also be competitive in sports races as well. The performance is actually pretty freaking solid. The headlight covers and the crazy looking spoilers it's got, I think, are some of the best customization options. I like the engine sound of it too. If you're someone that appreciates a good oomph in the engine, you're gonna like this one. Next up is the Sultan RS. It's another car that just looks like an ordinary smaller type sports car. When you upgrade it into the Benny's version, it looks absolutely awesome. It's got a lot of cool upgrades. It's easy to drive around. It's got really good performance too. Just like the LG Retro Custom, you can almost say it's like the LG Retro Custom's cousin when it comes to Benny's vehicles. With all these Benny's vehicles, you gotta expect them to be fairly expensive, which is the customization part of it to be expensive, but the Sultan RS isn't as expensive as some others. To really pimp it out, you're gonna spend anywhere from 700,000 to just over $1 million, which does sound like a lot to some people, but honestly it's not that bad compared to other Benny's vehicles, which total you'd spend maybe like a few million to max it out completely. It's not as fast as the LG Retro Custom, but it handles really well. It's really easy to drive, as I said, and for a Benny's vehicle, it's one of the better performing cars overall, which makes sense since it's a sports car. And for a short honorable mentions list, we got the Slam Band Custom, the Comet Retro Custom, and the Moonbeam Custom. I do recommend you guys check those out as well. And if you want to see the best vehicle for each class in GTA Online, click the video on screen now. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.